Welcome back, y'all. Today I'll be finishing up my Easter cake project. All that remains is the decorating. As I mentioned in my first video, I want to make it look like an Easter basket filled with all the goodies. Now I've done a couple things off camera to prep, including making a little bit more frosting. I'm using the same cream cheese buttercream that we crumb coated our cake in. I just mixed in an additional stick of butter and about 1.5 to 2 cups of powdered sugar. I just kind of eyeballed it. I also created my color palette. So I knew I wanted to get a peachy pink color. So I have a pink gel color, and then I have a gold gel color. This is not yellow, this is actual like antique gold color. So I'm going to start with pink color, and then I'm going to put a little drop of my gold off to the side so that I can slowly add as I want to change my color. So I add and I mix. And I add maybe a little more, and I mix a little more until it gets to where it looks like I might like the color. And then I'll grab a little bit of icing and rub it with a small spoon onto my parchment. I'll take my paintbrush, dab it in my color, and just lightly paint the color on my icing. Now it looks really dark whenever you first put it on because it's very concentrated right now and it's not mixed in. But you have to realize that you're making a color to mix in with a lot of white. So your color is going to be muted tremendously. So right now I'm looking at a copper color. But I know that after I mix it in a lot of white icing, it's going to totally desaturate that color. And this gives me the exact color that I was looking for. I gathered the different candies that I like to use and also a chocolate bunny because every Easter basket has to have a chocolate bunny, right? Now I want you to look at my bunny and notice how I added a wooden dowel to his bottom. I knew that he would have a really hard time standing, so I took a metal dowel, heated it up with my mini torch, stuck it in his bottom to create a hole, and then I added the wooden dowel. After the chocolate hardened back up, it was ready to go. For my grass, I found some candy apple flavored rice paper that was cut into some thin strips to resemble grass. So I just took my scissors and cut it into some short little pieces to resemble an Easter grass. I then put some Kelly Green gel icing color into a Ziploc bag along with half the paper that I cut. I rubbed and shook that around until I got a darker color grass. I then combined the two grasses to make a bi-colored Easter grass for our basket cake. The last thing I had to do was get my piping bags ready. I'm using a basket weave tip. Wilton tip number 48 is the one that I'm using. They have smaller ones, but I prefer this size. It's about a 1/2 inch. And for my edging, I went with something a little bit bigger. So I'm going with a Wilton 2D tip and simply piping a shell border. I used the power of Photoshop to illustrate exactly how to pipe a basket weave. Start by piping a vertical line top to bottom. Then we pipe the cross weave. Since the tip is a 1/2 inch wide, skip a 1/2 inch space each time you cross over the vertical line until you reach the bottom. Now go back to the top, move over a 1/2 inch, and create another vertical line. Once you've done that, you've created 1/2 inch squares. These squares are where you'll be starting each cross weave from this point forward. You'll complete this pattern until you cover the entire cake. It's now time to pipe the shell border. Ignore that blue you see on the top. I was going to do a rope border, and then I realized I didn't have enough blue icing to finish it. So I just scraped it off and didn't worry about covering the blue smears because all that's going to get covered with our edible grass. I covered my top with the edible grass and start applying all my candies, placing the chocolate bunny first. The layout's completely up to you. For a couple of my candies, I taped a wooden dowel behind them to help them stand up behind the bunny. The last thing I did was place some of my remaining edible grass around the bottom of my cake. I've had a lot of fun working on this project. Thank y'all so much for joining me, and I'll catch you next time.